Hey forum, my name is Manny, aka CascadeScents. Welcome to another video. As you see by the title, this one is on my perfect 10 out of 10 fragrances. This niche version of the video is actually a tag, so thank you to GENTS for tagging me into this. Not quite sure who started the tag themselves, but I'll leave GENTS' link to his video in the description below if you want to check that out, say if you haven't yet. But I'm really excited for this, and that goes without saying if you're watching this for not the first time, or this channel for not the first time rather, because you would know already that I kind of live for niche fragrances. I love this stuff, and when it comes to the niche fragrances I love the most, it's the ones that lean artsy but still retain a crowd-pleasing quality simultaneously. So without further ado, we have a lot to get through, so we might as well get on with it. Counting down in no particular order from the first offering, here it is. It's Silver Mountain Water by Creed. I feel like at one point I was mentioning this stuff every other video, but it's just that darn good. So we're talking my most complimented Creed for good reason. You have this alpine glacial scent built with tea. It just feels really crisp and breathtaking coming off of your skin, and you have a little bit of a fruity zing to it too, with the blackcurrant in the background as well, just to give it a little bit more of a kick so it just doesn't feel too austere. And then in the dry down you have a little bit of that musk, or should I say a lot of that, especially if you're working with a little bit of body heat and or skin chemistry. I feel like it just projects further more off my skin, especially still into the dry down stages. So with that performance, I'm also getting hella compliments, which is pretty cool. And it's not like I'm a whore for compliments. It's not like I'm automatically seeking them out. It's not like I ask people about my fragrance unless I'm doing it for on camera. It just, I so happen to get unsolicited ones with this stuff right here, and I just think it's amazing because of that, or it just adds to how amazing the scent already is rather. Just a note though, this is a discontinued sizing, of course, at 120 ml. They're now at 150 mls for their main bottle presentations. I would have no problem with that, but Creed keeps on jacking up the price despite that, so it's just a little bit much. But again, this list is kind of made without money being an issue, so it is what it is. Again, it is Silver Mountain Water by Creed, one of my 10 perfect 10 fragrances. Moving on to the next perfect 10 fragrance, it's this list resident gourmand fragrance. It's What About Pop by the House of Oud/THoO. So the dessert that this scent is trying to emulate, and it does so in such a wonderful way, is salted caramel popcorn. Like if I were to just spray this right now, wear it, although it's kind of too hot right now for this kind of scent, I just feel like licking my arm. It smells like it tastes that darn good. You have a gourmand saltiness that kind of pops in your nose at first when it is sprayed, and something slightly floral in the back, I presume to make it so it doesn't lean too gourmand. But to be honest, the gourmand elements here are still rather untamed. You're definitely going to get that vanilla, and for the most part that caramel, just like flavor accords when you're actually eating stuff. So to smell that kind of verbatim, I think is pretty awesome. Hours in, when it doesn't feel as salted caramel like, you're going to have this pretty amber and benzoin in the base as well, which is gonna furthermore just keep this from dying. None of it feels too intoxicating either. I just feel like this scent is just right, and it just feels like what a gourmand is supposed to be. Something that smells like you want to eat it at first, but it's still a perfume at the same time, and it just doesn't lose track of either of those things. So again, one more time for this perfect 10 list by the House of Oud/THoO, it's What About Pop. Moving on to the next perfect 10 niche scent now, and we have another salty scent, but one that is slightly more traditional, and I'll get to the rest of it in a sec. It's Les Mediterranée by Frédéric Malle. Now the thing is with this Frédéric Malle scent, it just doesn't feel like a straight up marine nautical scent that you might be used to out of just smelling salt and water. It's in the name after all, Mediterranean lily, or Les Mediterranée, so you're gonna have that really spicy floral lily here that just emits off of your skin, especially in the heat. It's a sweet and spicy summer floral. I just think it just bangs off of your skin. Typically when you think of summer florals, you think of stuff that might lean wet and juicy in the form of maybe a citrus floral or something like that, but that stuff is typically super fleeting. Maybe you're thinking lotus, which is also fleeting too, or maybe you're thinking of magnolia or something like that, but at that point doesn't feel as summery. Maybe that's more spring-like. But lily I just think is perfect if you're going to pair it some with more marine notes. Like if there's lilies around where you live, just walk up to them and smell them. First, when it hits your nose, it smells more spicy than floral, and as a result, this feels really tolerable in the summer heat. Again, I get why some people are apprehensive when it comes to smelling like a floral, where it's too powdery or just too stuffy. And while I feel like this stuff is no slouch, I just feel like it's a furthermore joyous kind of floral if that's what you want during the heat. And then when backed up with some of those marine notes, it's just kind of scent I want to wear when I'm yachting or something like that. Not like I can afford a yacht, just saying. But overall, spicy floral, seaside salty. Smells really natural smelling, although not actually natural. As a performance debut, nothing to complain about here. Again, it's Les Mediterranee by Frederic Malle, also on this perfect 10 niche list. And now moving on to continue the list, here's the next one. First time mentioning this fragrance on CascadeScents, I think. It's Enigma everywhere else in the world, or in North America, it's Creation E. This is the Parfum Cologne version by Roja Parfum. Now this stuff is supposed to be reminiscent of like a private members club, very gentlemanly, where you're just going to chill out there with your best buds. You got cognac in hand, we got tobacco in the form of these ballin' ass cigars or pipes. A lot of scents going on there, and for the most part it smells really good in fragrance form right here. So with the Parfum Cologne version of this scent, just like the other ones that have Parfum Colognes in the Roja Parfum lineup, you're going to have something here that's a little bit more reliant on the head and or the mid. So what I especially get out of this scent is heliotrope, which is a vanillic floral and doesn't lean like floral in the former scent in that sense whatsoever, or as far as a stuffy floral. It just more so supports what's to come in the sweeter notes here. So the cognac, the tobacco, the vanilla, the benzoin, stuff like that. For the most part, you're getting that on Hours on End, despite this being the, you know, weakest concentration of all of the Creation E / Enigmas out there. But honestly, I just feel so good upon spraying this stuff, because while the other ones are worthy of a 10 out of 10 rating as well, the reason why this one is my favorite is because, and I've mentioned this before, that my skin will typically project or overly project all of those sweeter notes. So to kind of have them subdued here, I actually think is a service to me. And I'm still getting a hella compliments with this as well. This is fastly rising as far as what is actually going to be a mainstay compliment getter come the end of the year. So we'll see what happens until then. For the most part, I just want to wear this, again, just going out with the homies or on a date, whether or not you're wearing, again, night out casual or something a little bit more dressed up. It's just going to do the job in the cooler weather for you. So be sure to look out for this concentration if you've yet to. Again, it's Enigma or Creation E Parfum Cologne by Roja Parfum. Moving on to the next fragrance on this perfect 10 niche list, it is Wulong Cha by Nishane. Now this is scent that goes without saying I talk about ad nauseum, but for good reason. Here we have another fragrance that also uses tea like Silvermount water, but this time with a lot more bite. Add some fruity herbal notes in here, as well as just fruity notes in general. The bergamot here is just super piercing, not in a sharp way, but in just a juicy way that kind of leans green. Like, you're definitely getting this well into an hour or two mark in my experience. And with the oolong tea here, it just feels like the best of both worlds, with maybe a more subdued, typically zen tea, and something a little bit more burnt like a black tea, but just amplified furthermore just because this stuff's an extrait de parfum, which of course Nishane does. They don't mess around when it comes to the performance. So just think bergamot tea, all things green, just jacked up. Something calm yet jovial, and something that can pretty much cut through any situation as far as the conditions. But of course, this stuff is the best for more laid back occasions in the summer. And that's kind of a good thing if you kind of want to conserve your juice here, just because, again, you really don't have to spray that much of this. But if anything, I am kind of running out of this super fast. It's almost at 50%. Probably should restock. That's how you know I really do care for this stuff. So once again, it's Wulong Cha by Nishane, also on this perfect 10 niche fragrance list. Moving on to the next niche fragrance on this list, here we go. It's Iris Fauve by Atelier des Ors. Now, it goes without saying the presentation here is OD, just love this stuff. But trust me, it smells just as good as it looks. Iris is perhaps my most favorite, most cherished floral note, and here you're getting that powdery luxury to a T. Just smells like a non-makeup-y iris that smells like kind of fresh off the plant, but with a little bit more of that orris root as well. You're getting a lot of sweeter nuances as well until it gets further more earthy, so it just feels like it's further more intoxicating, and I just love it for that. But towards the end, you're getting a lot of myrrh and resins mostly, and they just smell super ancient and old worldly, but in a way that's kind of romantic, if that makes any sense. Just because you smell something like this, you kind of just want to be whisked away on this adventure. That's how I feel when I smell this stuff right here. It just feels like luxury, and I love it for that. So if you're apprehensive of the aforementioned iris, I wouldn't be, just because it's one of those irises, or just one of those notes from one of those scents that, despite how you feel about it, you kind of just smell this and you're like, okay, I get it. You'll detect the quality is what I'm saying. So check this out if you've yet to already. Again, it's Iris Fauve by Atelier des Ors. Moving on to another 10 out of 10 fragrance. Here we go. This one's by Amouage. It's Lyric Man. Lyric Man, or what I like to jokingly call Bars Man, is a rose fragrance, but one that is super wearable, and perhaps the most wearable out there for straight cis males. Yes, it's a powdery rose, but one that ultimately comes off as kind of wet, and one that you'd probably want to sneak into a standard cologne, if that makes any sense. And I think it's mainly because of that lime opening. The lime here is so juicy. I love it. Like for a bottle that looks this brooding, you wouldn't expect such a bright opening, but you're getting it here. And again, that rose is just ever more jovial because of that. It doesn't even feel like it fits the bottle I'm holding right now. Add in some musk for a rather appropriate dry down. I love this stuff from beginning to end. And if there's a more formal leaning scent out here that I've named so far, which I've named quite a few, I'd say this one is perhaps most well-rounded, just because I feel like you can really use it for any time of the year. So while I do think that it leans towards spring and summer, I just think that with its more than enough performance, it's going to be able to cut through cold weather. I would know, I live in Canada, but with its citrusy approach to the top, I also feel like it feels the most casual naturally too. So with that note breakdown being said, another scent that you shouldn't be too apprehensive of, if you're apprehensive to rose this time, just don't be, just try this out. Again, I talk about this one ad nauseum too. It's Lyric Man by Amouage. On to the next perfect 10 niche scent. Here we go. This one is by Guerlain. It's called Angélique Noire. Here you have an aromatic opening with the angelica seeds. You have a little bit of pear there as well for a fruity tinge. Overall, it's going to pop in your nose, kind of sweet and herbal and green. It's going to provide the rest of this scent with a green powderiness at first that's going to feel furthermore appropriate towards the dry down. Dry down wise, you have more of that angelica, but in the form of its root, and then of course a vanilla, which this line is definitely known for in L'Art et la Matière by Guerlain. But what I like about this scent the most in comparison to everything else in that line is that it's actually the least gourmand sweet scent, if you ask me. The vanilla here doesn't feel like something that you would eat. It's sweet and dry, and it just doesn't feel like it's dripping off my skin either, and I really like that too, because I'd rather project something dry and powdery that for me feels more luxurious than sweating bullets and something that smells like I'd rather eat it than sweat it off of my skin. So I do historically love this scent for that. I just feel like, again, it's one of those super uber luxury scents. There's a celebratory quality to this as well. It's one that I reserve for my most sacred of occasions. This is something I've talked about again ad nauseum too. So stuff like work promotions or an anniversary or a wedding, something like that, that's when I'd bust this out. I don't think I'm nearly bougie enough to rock this on the daily. But yeah, it's perhaps the best aromatic vanilla out there, and if you've yet to try it, definitely do so. This one from L'Art et la Matière by Guerlain is Angélique Noire. Alright, moving on to the next fragrance, and this one is the city exclusive for London by the brand Labo. It is Poivre or Poivre 23, whatever you want to call it. But for the purpose of this video, I'm going to call this P23. And just like Michael Jordan, this 23 is the best in class. If you ask me, it's definitely my favorite city exclusive. And it's because it took a note, or it recreated a note that I tend to not like in fragrances in black pepper, and made it something I absolutely love in the form of this scent. Usually black pepper in the form of fresh spicy scents out there like a F Black by Ferragamo typically just hurt my nose. Like, it just feels like it makes me want to sneeze or something like that. This, on the contrary, I just want to keep smelling. So a dry approach to spice, and I guess I favor a dry approach when it comes to my cold weather scents, but one that ultimately feels delicious too, because it also dries down into also another dry vanilla. And I've said this in the past of this scent, that if you don't want a gourmand approach to vanilla and you don't want something that leans feminine like this, but still want something dry, definitely check this out, especially if you can handle spice. P23 is arguably the best spicy vanilla I've ever smelled. It also feels more casual too, say if you want to get some more wears in out of your scent as well. Doesn't feel nearly as bougie or celebratory as something like this. That being said, since it is an exclusive, it's only available worldwide at any Labo account and or online once a month, and that is in September. So September is almost upon us as of this video's release. Give us another 2-3 months and you'll be able to own this as well. But that being said, for $1 per ml evaluation, this stuff is not cheap, and perhaps the most unforgiving evaluation on this list. So definitely only pursue this if you really like it. The problem is I really feel like it's one of the least polarizing scents here and one of the most wearable ones too. So I'm trying not to spam through this bottle, because I know if I do, I'll definitely want this scent again. Just an amazing dry, spicy, casual vanilla. Can't go wrong. Again, it's P23 or Poivre by Labo. That being said, last but not least, and this one's pretty easy. If you know me, if you know this channel, here it is. It's Gypsy Water or G Water by Byredo. Forum G Water slaps. You get a little bit of everything here. You have something that opens up fairly juicy with lemon, but it feels more nuanced as well because you're getting a little bit of that pepper, you're getting a little bit of that juniper. So it feels like an opening with character, but it might be super light off of some people's skin chemistries. Once this gets less juicy and something more woody-ish, you're getting a little bit more of that pine, you're getting a little bit more of those soft woods, and then from there on out it just dies into something creamier in vanilla and or sandalwood. The scent is just a journey for me, and with my acidic skin chemistry, I feel like it actually projects well off of me for what I want it to. And while the scent leans something more spring and or fall like, I actually like using this in the late summer as well. You know, when it's not too hot, but I can spray this in the afternoon and it'll be beautiful off of my skin up until the 9 p.m. mark. Just a great signature scent for someone that wants something understated but something with a lot of character to it as well. But admittedly, with this style of minimalism, you kind of have to be that kind of person who can also appreciate quality despite the performance again. So if you like that subdued approach, or you just like this cornucopia of a scent altogether, I think it's definitely worth owning. But if you don't already know yet, again, it's a final scent of this list, this perfect 10 out of 10 niche fragrance list. It's G Water or Gypsy Water by Byredo. Ugh, so many memories with this. Anyway, Forum, hopefully you enjoyed this list. Thank you again to GENTS for tagging me. Again, I'll leave his details in the description below. And if you've yet to catch the designer version of this list, I'll leave a link to it there as well too. But yeah, do you have any perfect 10 out of 10 niche fragrances on your mind that you think I missed? Again, this is how I feel about this stuff genuinely personally. Your criteria might be a little different, but nonetheless, I'd like to know what those are and what your criteria is, so please be sure to tell me. And if you yet to as well and you really enjoy this style of content, definitely give this video a like. And if you really enjoyed it, also subscribe and hit the notification bell as well, just to get on these videos first thing furthermore. So until the next one, thank you again for your ongoing support. Take care for now. Peace out. Bye. Wear your fragrances.